Welcome to Music Madness, the show that shares music lovers' passion for music and the journey of the music world. I'm your host, Royvi Hernandez, and in this episode, we are talking all things flute with guest Vicente Vera. Vicente is a flutist who has played for many years and really enjoys playing the flute. So thank you, Vicente, for being here today and taking the time to do this.
I took time off the flute to do this podcast.
Time off the flute, there you go. You know, to me, music is special in the sense that music involves emotion, whether you are the one playing or whether you're the one listening. Either way, both sides have some sort of emotion evoked to it. I, as a violinist, know that as I'm playing my violin, I want to create some emotion, as well as I want the audience to feel some sort of emotion from my performance. To you, in general, let's just start off with what do you think music means as a whole? What does music mean to you, and what do you think music means to the listener?
Oh, that's a big question. What does music mean? Well, it's fun to listen to. I think your brain was made to listen to the most unique sounds ever, and I think we've just been conditioned to listen to certain types of instruments or to recognize certain types of instruments. But I think music could go anywhere, but for whatever reason 99% of people just want to copy what's already out there. But noise is noise, and you can do whatever you want with noise.
See, I like how you brought that up, because I think that we see a lot of people doing what other people are doing, and those who really execute music very well, whether it be in any type of the music industry, it's the fact that they are creative and they take their own path, and it's completely different than what the regular or what we already know.
Exactly.
So when they incorporate whatever pops out of their brain and their mind, and then they just make it something, whereas you can tell when someone is like, oh, okay, maybe they weren't they didn't really think it through, and then they just kind of took samples from other artists or other players, and it's just like you can see that in the music.
Oh, I don't think things through either. I don't know about the sample part, but I never think anything through.
I know that, again, you are a flute player. And how long have you been playing the flute? Is that something that you've played from a very young age? How did that come about? And what grew your interest in playing the flute? Because at least for me, the flute is very different from all the other woodwind instruments. So what is it about the flute that interested you, and how did you get started?
Well, it is a really different instrument in that you could all you need is a mouth and some good lung, and it's fairly easy to get the hang of once you it's like riding a bike. You just need to know where to put your hands. I really like Charlie Parker and Ornette Coleman, and I really like how they you don't know if they're if what they're doing is planned or if they just are literally speaking from the soul.
Yeah.
And for me, the flute, or not just the flute, but really any woodwind instrument, anything you could blow out of it, just use it to get me out of me. Sometimes I can't communicate with words, so I need to use
And now that you bring that up, it's as someone who is I'm a violinist, so as someone
really
who
cool.
Completely is strictly in string instruments are completely different from woodwind instruments.
Yeah.
And in particularly the flute is one of those instruments just within the woodwind category. It doesn't have a reed. And
oh no,
because it's just the hole, right? Just the hole, you're blowing through the hole.
Oh yeah.
And unlike clarinet, you have a reed. Unlike the most other instruments have a reed, and the flute doesn't. Alongside with the piccolo, which is another type of flute. And
I love the piccolo.
Yes, and to me, I see the flute in woodwinds the way violins are in strings. The instrument in itself can do so much, and it doesn't need any other instrument playing alongside it. Just it in itself, without any lyrics, without any other sounds,
Mhm.
can bring so much. It can tell a story just by itself.
Yeah, I just don't like how, I mean, not just the flute, but really a lot of instruments are very limited in the sense that I like so I make a flute sound on the computer that you can't do in real life because it's just blowing so fast. Like one of my songs, like it's literally like like that's how like fast it's going, and with the normal human lungs, you can't really do that.
Who I know that for me, see, I don't really know much about the flute except for the fact that at one
I
point,
mean, either.
at one at one point, I did take a couple of lessons in flute, and
Uh huh.
it's all preparation in the lungs, like you said, but it's also
Oh yeah.
the cool thing is that you have all these buttons that you can press, and there's some whatever type of sound that comes into it, whether it be sharp, flat, or anything. And
Hmm.
I see in whenever flutes appears in certain songs, there is it stands out. I mean, all instruments stand out, but the flute in itself just it stands out, and you can easily pick it up, even if it's like not necessarily by itself in a song, but you can easily pick that up. Your ear can hear that flute. And what steps or what do you do when you do play the flute? How do you prepare?
Well, you really just have make sure you have air in your lungs, and the reason the flute sticks out so much is because it's a very sharp instrument. It really like just cuts right through your ear because it's a ring, and it's a very high frequency, as opposed to something heavier like the saxophone or the trombone or even the tuba. It's all bass, so all you feel it more than you hear it. That's why when you're driving your car and your speakers are like making you bounce, that's the bass. But like the flute doesn't make your speakers bounce; it just pierces through your ears, and that's why I like it. It permeates.
I know that all of us who are interested in music or musicians have someone that inspires us. And
Uh-huh.
for me, in at least if I'm talking about violin, I know I don't have necessarily a specific violinist that inspires me, but I have the category of instrumental music as a whole. We have Bach, we have
Hmm.
the oh my god, I'm blanking right now. We have your
Mozart,
Mozart, yes. We have Beethoven, and we have Tchaikovsky, we have
Stravinsky.
Stravinsky. And who for you inspires you? Do you have a particular flute player that inspires you? Who inspires you in music?
I don't know that there's like a famous flute player. All I could think of is in terms of the closest thing that would come is Kenny G, and I'm not I'm not very inspired by what I hear from Kenny G. But Stravinsky like really inspires me, and not necessarily just flute players, but I'm really inspired by old rock and roll music and the guitar, because the guitar and the flute are very much the same instrument.
Mm, yeah. And I know that singer, songwriter, rapper Lizzo. I did not know this. Lizzo at first,
Lizzo.
yeah, I did not know. I read and I listened that Lizzo
Uh-huh.
started before she became this famous singer. She started with the flute. She started playing the flute since she was in middle school.
Oh, really?
Yes, and in middle school,
Huh.
that's where she started her music career, and she was playing the flute, and she just wanted to be better at it, and she kept playing. And with the flute, she played here and there, and she was able to cover some of the songs with the flute. And then eventually, she started her music career, but she started off playing the flute, and she plays it very well. So I found that interesting because it's like you never know who can play the flute. And honestly, I guess flute is something that at least one of the woodwind instruments that a lot of people are interested in to pursue or to try out.
Yeah, you should listen to the song called "Tunnel Vision" by what's his name? Kodak Black. Is that his name? Kodak Black.
Kodak Black, Tunnel Vision.
Kodak. That's his name, right?
I think so.
Tunnel
Kodak. Oh
Vision.
yes, yes.
Kodak
Kodak
Black.
Black. Is that? Does that have
Yeah.
flute in it?
Yes, flute is actually a very prevalent instrument in hip hop and rap, especially in trap songs, because it's just got that. It's really easy to just make a beat out of a flute that goes like goes like, and just like put a hi hat over it and just like. Oh, that sounds. Can you? I could hear the echo. Like just hold on for a second. I could hear it. Hold on. I like that.
How did you learn playing the flute by yourself, or did you have lessons, or how did you learn that?
No, I learned by myself, but I did have guitar lessons when I was like 10.
Oh, so everything related to the flute, you play that on you learn that on your own.
Yeah. Well, I mean, learn it as far as like I didn't have traditional teaching.
Music classes or music school.
Yeah, no.
It's just something that flowed. Did you do YouTube lessons? Did you just look at other um, flute players, or how did you do that?
No, I listened to the music and then you if you try making a noise enough times, eventually you'll get it.
Actually, this is a very interesting point to bring out. Musicians learn music in two forms, either one by ear or two by reading music. For me, because I was so trained, because I've been involved in music, going to school and lessons, I was trained to like it's all based off of reading music. So me personally, I cannot learn music by ear. I'm
Yeah.
very attuned, like my ear, however, because I've learned it and I've practiced it, I can pick things up easily and I'm attuned to it, like the sharps, the flats, and everything like that. But in terms of actually learning how to play something, I can't just do it by ear. If someone starts playing, I can't just say, oh, okay, and then I just start
Yeah.
playing the violin. I need the notes. I need to read. I need the music sheet. Without the music sheet, for the most part lost, or at least I won't be able to play something. Um, so for you, I can tell and I can see that you don't necessarily need music sheet. You are one of those people that can easily play it by ear. Is that correct?
I wouldn't say I could play by ear. It's more just memorization and repetition and randomness. Like a lot of the, I'd not even a lot of it. I'd say almost all of the music I record, I couldn't ever possibly recreate because it just all comes out spontaneously, and I just hit record basically. It's very artistic.
Now, there are different types of flutes. We have also the recorder, which is a type, and that's the one that
My personal favorite.
your personal favorite. Yeah, tell me, what is it about the recorder?
It's very cheap.
It's cheap. Is that?
It's cheap, and I could bring it anywhere. I could throw it in the back of my car.
Yes, you're right. Yes, unlike your modern flute, it is easier to carry anywhere. But what is it about?
Modern flutes are too expensive.
It's expensive. That is true. But what is it about the recorder that you're just so interested in?
Well, it's mostly from a practicality standpoint. I just like that I could carry it around everywhere. It also makes it makes a more funny high pitched noise. Like if I blow into it really loud, it makes a screeching, just completely out of tune noise, and I just love that. You can't really make that type of sound with the woodwind where you have a reed in it. You can't just like blow it out.
When I've gone to like the San Francisco Symphony, or I'm from the East Bay, so the Walnut Creek Center, I've seen a couple symphonic performances, and you see the drums, the all the percussion has its own area, all the basses have its own area, all the clarinets and the trombones, the horns, those are also ones that stand out. But and they stand out because they're loud. Whereas the flute, it's either not that it's not loud, but it's soft. It has a different range, and that is why it stands out.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Vicente, for taking the time to speak about your music journey with playing the flute. I think that the flute is definitely an instrument that people should take a deeper look at. Thank you for taking the time to do this once again.
Yeah, please, everybody, get the flute. It's a very good introduction instrument.
Make sure to join us in the next episode where we get to talk with Vicente again alongside Christian Trajano about what their experiences involved in music as a band. Thank you very much.